If you're sitting in a prison cell right now, or you have a family that's incarcerated, hoping the new sentencing bill might change your sentence, think again. You need to hear this before the rumors get your hopes up. Because right now, across prisons, people are saying sentences are changing. Some people think they are getting out early. Some think recall is disappearing. Some think extended licenses are being chopped. And some think nothing will change at all. But when you hear that on a wing, it really matters because the question everyone starts asking is simple. Is this going to change my sentence or my release date? So let's clear this up properly. For most people already serving their time, your sentence itself isn't gonna change, most likely anyway. But that doesn't mean the bill won't affect you. Because the part that can change is the system around your sentence. There's one rule that decides whether a new law will affect you or not. And hardly anyone explains this properly inside prisons, especially. Most sentencing laws don't work backwards, they apply from the day the law officially starts. So that means they usually affect people sentenced after that day, not people who are already sentenced under the old rules. So if you're already inside serving a sentence right now, in most cases, your sentence doesn't suddenly shrink. Your release date doesn't get recalculated. The judge's decision that put you there still stands. And I know that that's not what people want to hear. Because when rumors start spreading in prison, hope spreads with them. But here's the part that most people inside haven't realized yet. Even if your sentence doesn't change, the rules decide what happens before and after your release can. And that's where the sentencing bill or act could affect more people than they realize, especially if you're going to be released onto a license or if someone you love is waiting for you to come home. That change people need to understand. One of the ideas in the new system is something called earned progression scheme. Instead of everyone automatically moving through the sentence at exactly the same fixed point, the system moves more towards earned progression. That means things like behavior in prison, engagement with courses, risk management work, cooperating with your sentence plan could influence how someone progresses through the sentence. So engagement and behavior inside could matter even more than it already does. The other big area people are talking about is recall. Right now, if someone breaches license, they can be recalled to prison for either 14 or 28 days before being released again. On the changes being discussed, that structure shifts. Instead of those shorter recalls, the system moved towards a single recall period up to 56 days for most standard determined sentence prisoners, so SDS. Which means if someone is recalled, they could stay back in prison for up to 56 days before automatic release again. So recall doesn't disappear, but the structure around it is changing. And this is the reality a lot of people miss. Most sentencing laws don't affect the time you serve inside. They affect the rules that control you before and after release. So things like license conditions, recall decisions, probation supervision, and electronic monitoring. That's where the governments usually adjust the system. Okay, so here's the practical part. If you're inside, these are the questions you should be asking your OMU. What legal framework was my sentence imposed under? What is my current release point? Will any of the sentencing bill change apply to my case? How will my license be structured when I'm released? What happens if I'm recalled under the current rules? Those answers come from your sentence paperwork and legal framework, not from rumors on the wing. If you're a partner or a family member waiting for someone to come home, you can also ask probation questions like, what license conditions are likely after release? How does recall work in their case? Will any new sentencing rules affect supervision? Because probation are the people who actually manage what happens after the release. And every time sentencing law change, the same things happens in prisons. Rumors move faster than facts. Someone hears something from another wing. Someone reads half a headline. And suddenly the whole London is just saying things like, well, I heard everyone's under 4 years is getting out. I heard recall and extended licenses being capped. I heard sentences are being recalculated. But most of the time, they're just fragments of information bouncing around the system. The law doesn't change because someone heard something on the landing. It changes when Parliament passes the legislation and the official start date actually takes effect. So if you're already serving a sentence right now, the real question isn't, am I in prison? The real question is, what law was my sentence given under? because that decide what changes and what doesn't. There is only one more episode left in the Sentencing Bell series. That final episode will drop on Monday at 6 o'clock. And that one is aimed directly at prison and probation staff. Because if you work inside the system, you need to understand these changes properly. And this Sunday, we're live again with Fran, obviously, talking about recall, license, and answering your questions. And before I wrap this up, hi, my name is Dagna, and I've stood on the inside of the system for nearly 6 years. I've seen what the headlines miss. This is Inside Out Justice, where we say the quiet parts out loud.